Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show on Hamilton Radio. Guys, everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass, guys, because 31 years ago, almost 32, I was a dumbass. But through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey. And that's what I was. You know, we've all had the roughest 2.5, 3 years of our lives all over the world. I want everybody out there to know that you don't have to feel alone. I'm a recovery coach. I'm a nutritional health coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out, okay? And if you think my book can help someone, because I do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing. You could go to Amazon. It's everywhere now, Barnes & Noble. If someone out there truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. Okay, and please go to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel and subscribe. We've got some really cool things going on. Having said that, I have an amazing guest with me, and I mean amazing, okay? Let me introduce him first. His name is Mark LANOUE. Mark, say hello to everyone.
How you doing?
Listen, I'm doing great. How are you?
Living a dream. That's what they tell me anyway.
That's what they tell you. Okay. You know, when you and I finally talked, I think it was John Terlizzi that introduced us. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
So shout out to John. We love you, man. John Terlizzi, you're the best. When he told me a little bit about you, just a little bit, I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to interview this guy. So why don't you just take a few minutes and tell everyone who you are, a little bit about your background, and don't forget to mention you know what.
Well, I'm originally from New Jersey, but we'll give the short and condensed version because I've been just about everywhere. So I was a musician for quite a long time. I started on tenor sax, moved to guitar, and later on realized I could sing and write. Went through number of bands and touring, and then decided that it was time to go back to school. My now wife and I were about to have our first, and it was really time to start making some money other than touring around and eating ramen noodles. So
Is that
so,
right? Ramen noodles, that's funny.
Yeah, so I went back to I went to college, and I ended up becoming working for NASA. I was referred over to NASA, and I worked there for about 9 years under human exploration and development of space, NASA commercial space, and long-term space flight. I invented a number of things with a group there, and spun that out. I was inducted into the NASA Space Technology Hall of Fame, and then I was then out into the terrestrial market, as they call it. I became an entrepreneur. I went through the ranks of VP, CTO, CEO, and traveled around the world. And I ended up in academia now. That's where I am now. But I still have my bands. My last band was Fiction 6, which we had 3 albums out. My first one was really cool. We had the bass player from The Firm, Blue Murder. It was Tony the Fretless Monster Franklin. Amazing fretless bass player. And we, after he left the first album, the second album, we brought in a bass player from Montrose, Larry Hart. And the other guys in the band are really cool and excellent players. You'll hear some of the music in a little bit. But one is J.K. Northrup. He was with XYZ and King Cobra. He's played with a lot of different people, even toured with like Billy Thorpe back in the day. And my keyboard player that we had played with the Babies. I always say that I think God called last week and wants you to play on this stuff because I think he played for just about everybody. And my drummer, who I've known a really long time, I was actually in the band with him for a short period in 1991. But Rory Fashion is also the drummer for Kick the Wicked, which that's where we're at now. That's my new band, Kick the Wicked. After 3 albums of Fiction 6, we're taking a little bit of a break we're not sure how long yet. We just need a little break from it 3 albums later. And Kick the Wicked is Scott Campbell, myself, and Rory Fashion, and it's really some excellent music. We're about to go through a Grammy consideration run, so... And so here I am, family man, my wife, I have children, I even have grandchildren. So
that's beautiful.
Another one's on the way.
Okay,
so,
good.
So,
Congratulations, yes.
I'm in Arkansas now. I work at the University of Arkansas, and I'm also working on getting my PhD. So
very cool.
That's about where I am right now.
So we're going to talk about your music and play your music, but I am so fascinated with the NASA thing. All right, I just want to ask you a few questions. So,
Sure.
How cool was that? What did that do for you?
It was really enlightening, especially since I was kind of thrown in there. So it's a funny story I'll tell right before that is that I was just out, like old school, looking for a job. I went to the ads and I took a temporary ad for a company that was doing airborne imaging for agriculture. And I ended up starting a temporary job. I learned everything, so they had to keep me on. And then I was referred from there to NASA. And I ended up at NASA Stennis Space Center. And that's where it all began. I ended up underneath a really cool Chinaman, Cheng-Yi Mao, Dr. Cheng-Yi Mao, who taught me the ropes for the first 6 months and then left. And so I took it over from there, and along with my colleagues. And from there, it was history. But it was really enlightening. I worked with all kinds of different people from around the world. I did everything from forensics to airborne imaging. I was on a manifest for the space station. I worked with people from all the different NASA locations. I worked with the University of Florida on plant life to send to Mars, and all kinds of stuff. It was kind of cool.
So I don't believe that we really went to the moon.
So there's much to be said about history and what people think and the conspiracy theories and people looking at JPEGs and trying to figure out if somebody condensed down an image or all that other kind of stuff. But let me tell you something about sending data from planetary objects and from satellites.
Okay.
They have to compress the data that comes from those because the data are large and the data pipes are not very big. They've got a lot better now, and that's why we get such great images now. But back then, we could not send a whole lot of data, and we had to packetize that stuff. So, yeah, you can look at all kinds of images and see these attributes that they would call like a JPEG compression. But we didn't have that kind of compression. Back then, it was just data compression. And so that's what you see a lot of. You lose frames. It's kind of like when we take a picture of a star, right? We have to take 1,000 or 10,000 shots of it so we get rid of the atmospheric scatter. So, everybody has a right to believe what they want, but, at the end of the day, you have to sift through the conspiracies. So, some people believe the Earth is flat. So,
okay. So then you're saying, yes, someone did go to the moon.
Yes.
Okay. So, I love it. So now,
sure, you can reproduce in the studio. Sure, you just put shadow and angles. You do that in Photoshop, but
okay.
Anyway.
But back then, we're talking back then, baby. Who took the photos?
The photos?
Yeah.
Photos, I'm not really sure, but it's just been cameras. We had different types of cameras even back then. I mean, we've had cameras all the way back. I used to do some work with the Kodak Museum. And actually, the cameras back then were, if you looked at the actual images of black and white, they were actually higher resolution from a pinhole camera when it comes to sorting out the burning using photons. So
okay.
There's been ways to capture images for a really long time.
So did you meet a lot of the astronauts, and did you ever want to go to the moon?
I met some of the astronauts. No, I never ever did want to go to the moon, and nor do I want to go to the moon.
Okay.
I'm just fine with this spherical object. And there's enough to learn here and enough to sort out. We can't even get our hands around methane and carbon dioxide and the neutrality of things right now.
So I had to ask you those silly questions. So enough of that. So now let's talk about your musical career, and let's talk about what you want everyone to know, and then we'll play your first track.
Yeah, well, most of the time, like most musicians, it's a bit harder to get out there and get your name out there. It's a whole different industry than it was back in the day. But back in the day, you went through different sequences, payola, and then you had to be part of a label, and then all this other kind of stuff. Now it's just like everybody could just like, hey, I just recorded something on my boombox, ran it through a tuner, and here, this is my music. Here's an MP3. So it's a lot harder unless you have lots of money and you have a good promoter and all that kind of stuff. It's really hard to get your name out there. So right now we're doing the best we can and getting the name out there for Kick the Wicked. We're going through, like I said, a Grammy first round. We're under metal and under rock, metal performance and rock song. And so we're just hoping everybody will check Kick the Wicked out. We're on all the platforms. www.kickthewicked.com. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on everything pretty much. The new EP is a 5-song EP, and it's called Drag Magnet. It's completely self-done by the band. Well, Scott Campbell, he plays all kinds of instruments, but really talented guy. He does all the mixing and mastering and producing. He's really good at that stuff. And as far as music, it's just always really been a part of me. So there's I've been in a number of bands. I've been on live records that bonus tracks that had like Richie Sambora on them. I've been in bands with awesome vocalists like Dean Fasana, who was in Prophet, and he was in Message and Mercy with Richie Sambora. I played with also people like Bruce Foster, who played on the first Kiss album. I had the chance to record in the big multi-million-dollar studios, like up in, well, it's closed now. West Orange used to have a studio there called House of Music, and it's now closed, but it was an amazing studio. I've recorded in Morris Sound in Tampa. So right now, one of the coolest bands that I had was in the 90s. We were called Persian Risk, and my vocalist at the time is now in Nazareth, by the way. Nazareth has put out a couple albums. He just did a tour in Canada. It's Carl Sentence. He was my bandmate in Persian Risk. And but we had an awesome band. We were being looked at by Sony International. Things just kind of fell apart from a management perspective, but really awesome band.
That's really cool. So let me ask you something. You know what? Let's play our first track, and then I have a couple silly questions for you about that.
Okay.
And did you write the songs? Did you guys write the songs that we're going to be playing today? Are they original?
Yes, I've written a lot of the songs, but I always say in writing that it also has a lot to do with all the people that are involved. It's a chemistry perspective. So, but yeah, I write a lot.
Okay, cool. Okay, Ruben, we'll hear our first track.
It's all about you now. We've lost ourselves within this world. Can you hear the solemn cries of those who cannot help themselves? As I look upon this mighty nation, it sickens me to see what we've become. says.
Absolutely beautiful. Tell everyone the title of the song, and then let's talk about what inspired this.
That song is Innocence. That's by Fiction 6. It's my band that's just taking a hiatus right now, but that was off the third album called Ghost of My Father's Past. So that song was just as it says. I'm looking at the world as it is today. I saw the world as it was in the past. Lots of things have changed, but we always want to look into the eyes of the children and remember that that's where innocence is. And we need to model us more and think of what we were like before a lot of things took over.
So that is such a beautiful song, and I'm sure everyone can relate to it. Because you're a grandfather, right? And
Yeah,
I'm a grandmother, and I'm amazed when I'm with my granddaughter. My grandson's 21, but my granddaughter's only 7. So I'm amazed at the difference between when he was 7 and she's 7. That in itself, but everything else that you're saying is spot on. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful song, and everyone can resonate with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Gorgeous. So I want to ask you a couple silly questions,
Okay.
and then we'll play your next one. So, who inspired you musically growing up?
Oh, goodness.
Yep.
My mother had a huge record collection, my mother and father, and they're all vinyl. And I would go through all of them, everything from Redbone to David Bowie to Donna Summer to, whatever, Bach, Beethoven. I listened to everything, and all the way up to, Yngwie Malmsteen to Megadeth. I listened to everything, and I just appreciate the music and the art for what it is. I can see the crappiest band somewhere, and I go, "Oh man, that bass player is so awesome." So you got to find the good in the art, and if you can't do that, you can't grow and learn.
So let me ask you something. You didn't have like a favorite kind of music or a band or artist?
Well, I would say I had influences, but there were a
Okay.
lot of influences. Like, I liked Styx.
Okay, I saw them in concert back then. Heck yeah.
Yeah, Ronnie James Dio was an amazing singer. Guitar players, I loved all kinds of different guitar players, from Ronnie Latecro from TNT to Al Di Meola. So I liked Randy Rhoads from Ozzy Osbourne. I liked Gary Moore. I liked a lot of those different players, bands, and I learned something every time something played. You try to learn something, and you try to become inspired and become better by it.
So what about any gospel music? Do you like that?
Oh yeah, I loved
Okay.
Mahalia Jackson at Christmas time. Go Tell It on the Mountain. I love that stuff.
Okay.
I loved all the stuff like the Temptations, and I actually preferred Michael Jackson when he was amazing when he was a kid. I couldn't believe the voice that came out of that guy. But
Amazing.
I liked his stuff later, but I was just so intrigued by how good he was and how much soul he had as such a little kid.
So let me ask you this. Did you ever get to meet any of these inspirational people?
I met some of them. Like I met one of my favorite guitar players back in the day when I used to go to concerts. I met people from Dio's band, and Yngwie Malmsteen was a guitar player I was really into back in the day. I've met some of them along the way.
Okay. Are there any artists that you wish you could have met and you haven't?
I would have liked to have met Freddie Mercury. He was amazing.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, come on, very cool. Okay.
I did meet one of the people I really dug, which was who played on my first Fiction 6 CD, which was Tony Franklin. What a wonderful individual he is.
So let me ask you something. So the album that this song that we just played was on, tell us the name of that album again.
Name of that album is Ghost of My Father's Past.
Okay, so I love that name as well. So what made you name it that?
Well, there were two things. There was a parallel. My father was a I would say an affiliate to one of the crime families back in the day. And he was gunned down when I was 10 in the streets of Jersey. But I still
Oh.
carry around with me, a bit of him in me, even as young as I was. And then I also think about our forefathers in this country and how we've grown and what we've forgotten. And it's kind of like looking back into the mirror, and that's what the cover is on the record, is that reflection of oneself and the past and what's in us, from genetics to culture to all those things. And what does that tell us now? And to look in the mirror and try to resonate that and try to kind of make this a better place, right? A better world. So that's kind of what the whole thing's about.
That's beautiful. You know,
Thank you.
my email is www.jdjerry. What would Jesus do, Jerry? Because it keeps me grounded. I always say it keeps me from slapping people. But second, I always say, what would my dad do?
That's right. Yeah.
And that's beautiful. My dad was an amazing, amazing father, and I think about that, and I thank God for him every day. He's gone now, but I always think before I do something, or, what would my dad do? So I love that title. I love it. So thank you for that. So Ruben, let's play another track.
Look around you, all the progress that's been made. We're all just humans falling for the hate. Why are we burning down our cities? Why are we burning with such hate? All the shifting of the blame as we're blinded by the lies. Don't draw the line between black and white. Believe me, I know you well worth the fight. Believe me, I know we're caught up in the lie. Don't draw the line between black and white. Yeah. Our towns are burning like the hatred in our hearts. As the power hungry feeds on our faith. Why are we burning down our cities? Why are we burning with such hate? All the shifting of the flame as we're blinded by the lies. Don't draw the line between black and white. Believe me, I know you
Awesome. Tell everyone the title and what that song means to you.
That one's Blinded by the Lie. It's by Kick the Wicked. It's off of our new EP, Drag Magnet. And it's actually the third track off of that one. So everything I write has meaning, and it usually has something to do with experiences, and that has to do with what's going on today. But it's really not any different than all the way through, history. Mankind is chaotic by nature. So, and so growing up in the streets of Jersey, I really didn't care much when I was a kid, about what somebody looked like or whatever. Either you walked up to shake my hand or you walked up with a knife. One way or the other, it didn't matter what you looked like. One was a problem and the other was a friend, right? So right now we're just so divided as a country and sometimes even as a world. And, there's so many lies. People don't really look into the truth a lot of times. They look into self-truth, which is a totally different definition and dynamic. And I just hope that we can find ways to come together. That's kind of what it's all about what's happening. And hey, can't we just all get along? The old terminology.
So where in Trenton did you grow up, and how old were you when you lived there?
I actually, my father moved us around quite a bit when I was in New Jersey. So I was born in Elizabeth. And that was 6666, as I was telling you. And I lived in Linden. I lived near Woodbridge, Broadway, Rochelle Park.
Okay.
I lived in near Mahwah for a while, Lincoln Park, near Wayne. I've lived in Hackensack,
Wow.
exit. Driven by Hoboken many times. So, so the Route 17 diner in Paramus. So I used to hang out with the Trickster Boys in Paramus. Yeah.
So pretty much you lived all over New Jersey.
Yeah, I lived all over the place. We just moved around. Trouble came around, we moved. So.
Wow. Okay. How old were you when you lived in New Jersey? What was the year span?
Well, at first I lived there till I was about 14, and then I went back to get back into the music scene again in my early 20s. And I was there through till I was about maybe 26. And then I left there and went back to Mississippi because I had to go back to my my first love, who I'm now married to. So,
Oh, that's beautiful.
and
No,
I
that is-
ended up for a while. So.
That's beautiful. Okay, so let's play one more track, and then I want to ask you some questions about what's happening and what you plan on doing with your music and all that great stuff. So,
Okay.
Ruben, let's play another track.
Watching all the simple people spewing happiness.
So tell us the title and what that song means to you.
Well, that one's called "Spit It Out," again by Kick the Wicked. That's actually under the metal category, and the song, it's much like the other songs that are written about today and what's going on. So people can interpret that differently depending on what they feel or what they believe. But it really comes down to, there's a lot of people lying to us. It's a matter of vetting out the facts and the truth, and then breathing in, breathing out. Don't get stressed over it. Just let's figure it out and take the lie and chew it up and spit it out. There's much to be done, and we're not going to get there by just pointing the finger and looking the other way. So.
Right, 100%. So I love the meaning behind your songs. So you play the guitar.
I play the guitar, and so does my buddy Scott Campbell. I also sing on that as well. So, yeah.
So did you take voice lessons and guitar lessons?
I pretty much taught myself guitar.
Okay.
Vocals, I started taking vocal lessons in the 90s from an individual who taught Warrant's singer and a couple of the Backstreet Boys. His name was Ron Feldman. God rest his soul. He passed away some years ago. But he's the one who really helped me to find my voice. And my wonderful now wife is the one who paid for my vocal lessons. So
Oh, how nice.
say a lot for support. Right?
So she likes that you sing.
Oh, she just likes to support what I do.
That's
So,
beautiful.
yeah.
It's beautiful. What about your kids? They sing? Do they play instruments? Are they into it?
One of my daughters, my middle daughter, played tenor saxophone for a period of time. She followed after me, but she was really, really good. She was in junior high and high school band, and she was a drum major, and she went to college and did that for a period of time. My eldest daughter is actually one hell of an artist. She can pretty much do anything. She won the Michelangelo Award when she was in college for art. She's just really, really awesome at art. She does a lot of digital stuff now. My son, he's an Xbox warrior, like all the other boys that are around their teenage age. So, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I went to art school back then in '79, School of Visual Arts in New York. I love it.
Yeah.
I love art. I love music, all that great stuff.
So it's awesome. It's awesome having, it's a blessing having children, and our grandchild, our grandson, and we're expecting another one. So
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I think we have one more track, correct? Right, we have one more?
And talking about that, after that track, I have to head out and go pick up my
Okay.
Xbox warrior.
So let's do it. Ruben, let's play our final track.
I've been bathing in the sins of my past, lying here waiting for the tides to cleanse me at last. Drifting through this ocean called life, I really need your shelter. Will you take me to the depths of your soul? Sometimes I'm out of control. Will you cleanse me and make me whole? As we open and close the doors, memories come rushing in. Many have tried to break us as the years pass like the wind. I find comfort in your love. Will you take me to the depths of your soul? Sometimes running out of control.
That was beautiful. What's the title?
Thank you. That one's called The Journey. And I actually wrote that as a testament to my wife. I met her when she was 16 and I was 17. And it's been that journey. So anyway, that's what that song's about. It's really a cool song because Scott actually brought that track to me and for Rory, my drummer, and said, "What do you think about this?" And so I went ahead and wrote the vocal to it, and it's just turned out to be such a cool track. The drums are really so
Beautiful.
cool on that too. It's just really excellent.
Beautiful.
Thank
so,
you.
Phew. So I know you have to go. Why don't you tell everyone, before I give you my thank yous, how they can buy your music, whatever it is that's happening that you want them to know, maybe a website, whatever. The mic is yours.
Sure. So come find us. Come find us at Kick the Wicked, and find us on Twitter at Kick the Wicked, on Instagram at Kick the Wicked, on Facebook at Kick the Wicked, and we're also on, like I said, YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. Come hit us up on Spotify, and I'm sure you'll be able to find my email. It's out there. Just reach out to us. Our website at kickthewicked.com has a place where you can put in for the mailing list, and there's links up at the top where you can kind of check out what we're doing with the Grammy run. So we'd love everybody to hear us. Pass the word around. Retweet.
Amazing. Listen, I want to thank you, Mark, seriously. This was a cool interview for me because the majority of musicians that I interview are all oldies, doo-wop, and new up-and-coming young artists,
Sure.
So this is like us.
Right,
So
right.
Okay?
That generation.
So this is cool. So it brought back a lot of memories, man, a lot of memories, and I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for sharing what you did about NASA, and listen, your journey, and amazing, and congratulations on all your awards and what you've done. So I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mark.
Well, peace. Let's stay in touch.
Yes, absolutely. And I already shared it for you. It's on Facebook.
Sounds great.
Okay.
You take care.
You too. Take care, Mark.
Bye-bye.
Guys, share this interview, okay? Especially if you're in the 50s and 60s. Share it, baby. All right, Ruben, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.